Right. I'm always one behind. I'm just going to say, welcome to our sixth reading of Antigone. Who knows? Um, I'm going to open up the text and we'll begin with a couple of strophe and antistrophe from the first choral ode. We just. Okay. Hideous technology. So I believe we've done the strophe, and then these anapests beginning from hos f hemetera, which means we're onto antistrophe alpha uh, at line 117. Okay. Um, yeah. There was actually a sentence end at the other one, at the anapests, which is helpful. Okay, so I'll read it quickly and then translate. So, stas de hyper melathron, phonor saisin, phi canon, kuklor lonkais, heptapulon stoma, eba. And eba, that's like a really emphatic positioning of that verb, and I can translate down to there. Um, I think that's actually that's actually the only finite verb in the main clause. And if I can find my
Fighting a cat. What was the line?
line 117. So in English, you'd say the third verse of the first chorus, but it's the first antistrophe. Are you looking at which text are you looking at?
Deadman.
Yeah, don't look at Stedman.
Oh, okay. All right.
Do you have the other one?
Yeah.
Okay, stas is the second aorist from histemi in the aorist participle. So, nominative masculine singular. So he came to a stand. Now the he in this ode is a compound of the man who's not named, which is Capanius, who's led the army of the Argives against Thebes, and the eagle, and a monster that we're about to develop here. And these are deliberately conflated, so you cannot sort them out and say he was like an eagle, etc. You can't do that. It's part of the choral ode, and that changes dramatically over the course of the play, especially after the two lines later on in this, as we'll read shortly, where the action, the idea that the gods cause the action is dismissed by Creon, and the chorus has to reassess their understanding. Okay, so having come to a stand, so participle, and I put two lines underneath a main verb, and then two lines just under the end of a participle, and just under the end. It's a bit hard to do it on this useless bloody Adobe crap, but
Well,
under
wait a
the
minute.
under dependent participles and dependent infinitives.
Manny, I can't see any board. Will you please?
Oh, that's because I'm not sharing. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so this is page 188 on the text of Lloyd Jones Wilson. All right, so we've got Stas de Huper Melathron. So having come to a halt, Huper above Melathron, the house, the castle, the whatever it is. Then we have another participle, amphi canon, which means gaping with jaws, right? So gaping, coming to a stand, gaping over the house. Now, this is neither an eagle nor Carpanius, nor the leader of the Argives. So he's mixing in a third image and compounding it, and you can't separate them, because gaping in a kuklor lonkais, that's with spears in a circle. And the lonkais, the spears, are modified by phonor saisin, which means something like murderous, Okay, so coming to a stand over the roofs of roof standing in for the city. Coming to a stand over the city, gaping with bloody spears or spearheads in a circle, and gaping about, and the accusative object of amphikanon, to gape, is heptapulon, stoma, which means eight-gated mouth. So what it actually means is the eight, well, it's, the heptapulon is the eight-gated, eight gates that constitute the mouth of the city.
Isn't it seven gates?
Seven. Yeah. Not octapulon, heptapulon. Yeah, and there are seven captains in the Argives and seven in the Thebes that face each other. And if you want to read Seven Against Thebes, then by Aeschylus, you'll get some of the background. Okay, and then preposition prin, meaning before, which takes the infinitive, less than. Okay, I'll read this. Prin pot hameteron haimaton genusin ples tenai kai stephanoma puagon peukatent hepaiston Helene. Okay, so before ever potter hameteron of our haimaton, of our blood. So before it filled up with ples thenai, passive, by means of the jaws, genusin is dative plural. So at the jaws, locative, by means of the jaws, instrument, and then filled up takes the dative. Takes the dative of instrument or location plus here genitive of what you're filling it up with. Filling it up with our blood, hameteron, haimaton, and you can see it's hameteron as opposed to hermeteros, which is what we're used to in prose, but this is a choral ode, which has Doric and Ionic elements like that. Okay, and that's the first element, right? And then, so before it did that, and before it took Hyrene, before the Peukathenta Hephaiston. Now, Peukathenta means of pine wood, but of burning pine wood. And Hephaiston here is being used, metonym, as fire, the fire of the pine wood brands before they took the Stephanoma, the crown of the towers, Puagon. Okay, so we have this mixed, deliberately divergent imagery of there's a monster that stops above the city that was an eagle and that is simultaneously an eagle and a man. It stops above the city, gaping around it with its jaws and with spears. And then before the jaws could fill up with our blood and before the fire carried by the people attacking could burn down the towers. Before that, ebar, so that's the main verb, which is from binor, root aorist, third person singular, before, and he left. So who's he? The monster, Carpanius, the leader of the Argives, and the eagle, all combined. Then we have a relative pronoun, toios. Of that sort, toios, amphi, nort, etathe, patagos, areios, anti palo dus cateroma dracontos. We're going to have an unavoidable textual problem to discuss. So of such a sort, right, was extended. So that's the aorist passive from tenor, to stretch. Such a sort intensified, was stretched out, amphinorta, over the back. And then in nominative, agreeing with toios. Such was the patagos of Ares, that's the genitive of Ares, Mars, the god of war. So such a patagos is a sound, but usually a very harsh sound, a clattering, a ringing, a banging. Such was the clamor of war that it intensified about their back, right? And then we have a small textual issue. Anti palor, dus Roma. So that the manuscripts have anti palu. A Roma Draconti or Dracontos. Yeah, different manuscript editions say different things. Yeah, if it's this text, it's the following: Deus K Roma. So Deus K Roma, is it could be something you've done with your hand. It means a hand, but something you've won with your hand. It could be a victory, and this could be a difficult victory. And then the anti palor would be the dative that 2 or 4. An opponent, anti palor, is an opponent in wrestling, usually. So a difficult thing to win for the opponent of a dragon, a dracon, a serpent, dracontos in the genitive singular. So that's a difficult thing for the opponent of a serpent, and the difficult thing is to win a victory when you're facing this kind of battle against Thebes, because Thebes is the servant whose teeth were sown in the ground, and so on. Now, if it's the genitive, then Deus K Roma becomes a hard Deus, difficult victory of his opponent, and then in opposition to anti palu of his opponent, we have Dracontos, a difficult victory of his opponent, the serpent. And that's closer to the manuscript tradition, and I prefer it. But, obviously very much more erudite Greekists want to change the manuscript to what you can see now. Okay, so then just a short stanza of Anapests, beginning with Zeus. And if I do these two, and then that leaves us with 4 stanzas, and we'll get that done before we move on to the second chorale. Staiusca megales glosses compus, huperec tyre, kais fas esidon, polo reumati, pros nisomenus, crusu canances huperopteis, poltai ripte puderi balbidon, epacron erde, nican hormont alalaxai. Okay, so because...
So, Martin, shouldn't Zeus be pronounced as Deus? She was saying Zeus. I'm sure it's Deus, wouldn't it?
Z, then D.
So it's not Zeus.
Zeus.
Zeus. Not Zed. It's not as a Zeus sound.
It's a ZD, like in wisdom.
Yeah, Zeus. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, when I first said begins with Zeus, I meant just the English word. Yeah. And then when I read it, I tried to make it sound more like Staios. But yeah. Okay, so because Zeus, and then we have the main verb, huperec thyre, third person singular, it's in the present, hates huper excessively. So he greatly hates, and then we have a accusative object. Compus, the boasts of a great tongue, megalas glosses. Right. Then we have a participle, and in these choralodes you'll notice there's often one main verb and then 3 dependent participles or relative pronouns or such. And so ace idorn is ace horan, right? So literally looking into, but just noticing or seeing, recognizing. Having seen, and farce is the older version of the relative pronoun. Like we would normally expect altus, like them, right? That's direct object in the accusative plural, masculine. Having seen them, and then in apposition to that direct object, farce, is this word which means advancing, pros nisomenus in the participle. Having seen them advancing, polo rayumati, which means in a great wave, in a great swell. And then we have manuscript difficulties with huperopteis, because the manuscripts have a variety of different things, huperop, teias, and then that would be in apposition with prosnisomenus, and it means something like boastful. It's very frequently changed, and Lloyd Jones Wilson haven't done this, but I can't remember. Can't remember what Jeb said, but often you get huperopleiais, which means in the arrogance of hopla, arms, right? In the dative, and that would make some kind of sense. So I can't write very well here because of this Adobe thing. Hooper, forget it, can't do it. Okay, and that would be in the arrogance of arms of a crusu canuncares, which is a canuncare is a it's almost onomatopoeic. It's like a clanging of gold. So they're advancing, and then we have one of two words for arrogant, the arrogance of a clanging of gold. And as they do that, then we actually get another main verb, ripte, which means to throw down from. So Zeus, who hates boasting and caught sight of them advancing, throws them down, poltor puderi. So poltos means wielded by the hand. So with a brandished, and puderi is the dative of top pur, fire. Right. So with brandished fire, brandished fire, he threw them down. The he is coming at. So these three words, balbidon, ep, akron, go together. At the peaks, akroi, the peaks, right? So at the peaks of the bal, and the balbidaire is the post that you run to and from. So it's the goal. At the peak of their goal, that is where they're just about to accomplish their attack, right? What's a better way of saying that? Yeah, almost at the end of their target, at the end of their goal.
The edge of victory or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and then because then he's going to say, so he struck him, Capanius, the eagle, the monster, hormonta, which is hormao, to set out, right? So now we get the direct object of ripte, right? He casts down him when he is setting out. He casts him down on the final, on the at the not the end of his run, but at the peak of his goal. He casts him down when he is, and it's a participle, when he is setting out, ala luxai, which means to give out the cry of nikan, victory in the accusative. So on the very verge of being victorious, he's cast down. Okay, I mean that's obviously quite quick, but I want to leave time for all of you to have to go through your work. Yeah. Any questions about any of that?
So all these gods, Hephaestus, Hephaeston, that's Hephaestus in the accusative, is it? So Hephaestus and Zeus and all that, they're like personifications of what's happening, or?
This is one particular feature of this ode is that there's no fixed meaning. So, but Hephaestion here is fire, right? The fire that is burning up the pine wood. But Zeus is an actor, right? Zeus cast him down. He doesn't say our brave troops cast him down. And in the same way that the Argive attackers are both the human and depicted as an eagle, and depicted as a monster with gaping jaws. So it's deliberately left not sorted out. Yeah.
Man, if fast is just fire, why has it got a capital E to it?
Because the editor has reference for Hephaestus.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't mean fire as in, it's not another word for pure fire, right? But sometimes Hephaestus is used in a sense where it means fire. And sometimes it's used as someone who is making a shield for Achilles. I was just reading somewhere else about the background to this play, the mythological background, and in the various families, there are two semi-divine creatures who are also the names of stars. So what are they? Are they stars? Are they humans? Are they gods? It's just not easy to say what they're meant to be.
Is it just, metaphor drawing on the gods as a way of explaining a dramatic reversal of fortune?
You can interpret it that way.
I will.
Be my guest. Be Sophocles' guest. But he's deliberately not doing that in this ode. And then in the second ode, we're going to get to a line shortly where the action of the gods is excluded. The second ode is about human beings, precisely without gods and our technological prowess, basically. And then the gods are excluded except for two mentions of gods. And then it is a metonym. It's just a name for death and a name for the earth. Ger and Gar and Hades. But yeah, we'll see that. So it changes radically. It's definitely nothing to do with some kind of careless mythological approach. It's extremely precise, and it goes through this very radical evolution in the six choral odes.
Precise but ambiguous.
Well, yes, absolutely. Everything is open to question here. What's responsible?
Isn't that a contradiction in terms?
No, because he's deliberately saying there are at least 7 possible interpretations of the phenomena, and you can't tell which one it is yet. You got to read the rest of the play. We got plenty of time. But it's extremely precise because it can very, very easy for him to sort out like who is the subject of Ebar, and what was the last time he said something? Yeah, and who is the Hos? I mean, this is not a Hos. It's in the manuscript. It's a Hon. And then Polyneikus is Polyneikers. But people can't make sense of it because who's the subject of this? It's not possible to sort out. And then this. So first of all, someone comes out of these, disputative strifes, raising up an army against our land, right? And they come screaming sharply. So they don't come like they're an eagle. They come screaming sharply the way eagles do. And then we get an eagle flying over our land. And then we get this word horse, which at last it says something like as an eagle, but it's very late. So it's confused. And then it's definitely confused in the next lines because covered over with a wing, Pterux, Leukes, of white snow. But that's a reference both to an eagle that can have a white patch and the shields, which of the Argives were white, and along with many arms. So it's not like as an eagle does this and the army did that. It's deliberately confused. So the rank of living being, animal, human, and God is both, all three act as agents, and it's not possible to sort out which one does what. That's deliberate at the moment. Things change. The chorus undergoes an education which they misunderstand, but we need to understand the misunderstanding of humanity in order to understand what Sophocles is trying to tell us. Yeah, it's like a Platonic dialogue in that sense. Yep. But what we must never, ever, ever do is give in to the people. I'm reading a book by one of these people right now, who thinks that tragedy is about ambiguity because we don't know what is the case or something, or that life is ambiguous or things don't have a stable meaning. That's just sheer gibberish, cowardice, and weakness in the face of work. Okay, that's my rant for the day. So I might get the Miro board up. Can't possibly be what someone like Sophocles is saying. Otherwise, he could just, provide a Nietzschean aphorism and be done. Okay, so that brings us back again, catching up into the ambictrometer at 17268, sorry.
Yep, I'm ready for 268.
Right, thanks.
Tell us the hot uden en ereu no san pleon legatis eis ho pantas es pedon cara neusai phobor trexen. So telos is in the end. Hot is short for hote, which means when, so that's a conjunction. Uden is an adjective meaning not one or nothing, and I've got it as an accusative here. N, I'm pretty sure N must be that imperfect of Amy, the third person singular, so that's was or used to be. Ereu no sin seems to be a plural dative participle from ereu nao, which is seek. So that means searching, or we are searching. Then pleon is an adjective, meaning satisfied or full or complete. So the first one, Martin, I think it's just like in the end, when, and I struggle with this because I think that I couldn't see how that third person singular Amy verb went with the plural dative participle. In the end, I put the Amy verb with uden and pleon to make her, and then I thought in the end, when nothing was satisfied by our searching.
Yeah, I think we can fix this by just changing the translation for play on, which is more. So that when there was nothing more for us as we searched, or basically when we could find nothing out, but when there was nothing more for us who were searching. So play on just means more. I'm just wondering.
There's nothing more by our searching, or nothing more in our searching, or
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When we could find nothing more, because they've found that it's been buried, the body's been covered, but they haven't been able to discover anything else like tracks or anything. Yeah. So when we could, in English we'd have to say something like when we could find nothing more. But just so like super literally, in the end, when there was nothing more for us who were searching,
Right. Now, legatis eis, that look, Hayes seems to be the numeral one, so it's referring to a particular person, and legatus has just said something, so it's I think that's just someone said something, but the someone seems a bit indefinite, but the A seems to be someone in particular, like a particular significant individual or whatever. But I just translated someone said something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is someone and a one, and we just have to say someone. We can't do any better than that. Someone spoke. Someone says.
It's to say one said something seems a bit odd. Doesn't seem to work.
Well, yeah, no, it doesn't work in English. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then ha is a relative pronoun. It means the thing which.
Oh, okay. You've got ha. Okay, that's a manuscript change by.
I'm following Stedman. Yeah, is that
Yeah.
different from
Okay.
Lloyd Jones?
Okay. So the ha is going to be, yeah, okay. That's going to be something that was said, whereas the manuscript says hos, so it's saying someone began speaking who did such and such, whereas you're going to provide the alternative.
Okay, so that would be a who, not a which.
Yeah, but you've got the which, yeah. So go with that, and we'll.
Okay, which. And then pantas es pedon cara neusai phobo pru trexen. I jump from ho to the n pru trexen, which means to compel. It's from protrepo, compel, and it's a plural, first person plural aorist, I think. Aorist indicative active. So it means we were compelled, we were
Sorry,
compelled us.
can you say that? Because I've got pru trepsen, third person singular. What ending do you have on pru treps?
Pru trexen, en, epsilon nu.
Okay, so that's the singular, right? The third person.
Sorry, I've got third person plural. I must have mucked that up then. I thought it was compelled us and it went with pantas, compelled all of us.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So the ha, you're correctly translating it. Yeah, the ha is the subject of the pru trepsin in your text. So which, like the thing he said, someone said something which compelled pantas, all of us. Yep.
Yeah, and then the infinitive is next at neusai, to bow. It means to incline cara, our heads, so to bow our heads. S pedon, S is ace, into. So it's literally into the ground. So it's a poetic exaggeration. So just to bow our heads to the ground, and phobos in fear.
Yep, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and so in the original, it's got hos instead of hot. So it's someone spoke who, yeah, compelled all of us to nod our head towards the ground in fear. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Ugar ekomen ut antiphonein uth hopos drontes kalos praxai men. So ekomen is from echo. It's a first person plural imperfect. Luckily, Stedman said I should go with the word no with that. So it's about no, not have or whatever. So then ut is and not, so it's either or neither. Anti phonane is an infinitive from anti phoneo, to reply or sound in answer. So that's to reply. Uth has got the aspirated theta because of the rough breathing on the vowel that's following it. So that's ut, but with its aspirated theta ending. So then hopos is how. And yeah, I wrestle with this a bit. I think that you have to know how, and then I think that I wonder where to put the how. I think it's the how of those two options, because it's to answer will be one option, and then the other one is Drontes is achieving, that's a participle, and Kalos Praxemen is a fine outcome, I think. So I put for we did not know how to either answer or accomplish a fine outcome.
That's right. That's right. And you divided that, like you sticking to the uta is very, very good. So but akermen, which is the imperfect, is being used in two different ways. So akermen plus infinitive. So we did not have a way to contradict him, Antigone, nor did we have a way, nor was there by acting and by doing what he said, right? That we would kalos proximon, as you said, like we would fare beautifully. Like, au prator means au.
That means well or excellent or
Yeah, it means it doesn't mean I'm acting well, it means I fare well. Like, and we've got kalos, so it's faring beautifully or faring nobly, but yeah, nor did we have a way by doing what he said would we fare beautifully. Yeah.
Just on the construction there, Martin. The first neuter with the infinitive coming after akermen,
Yeah.
and the second one is with the praximen. Is that right?
I take it that there's a missing antecedent to hopos, which introduces, which is which modifies drawn tears. No, we did not have nor did we have a way by acting in any way that we might fare beautifully.
But your parallel verbs are akermen and praximen.
Well, we've got two subordinate clauses after akermen. We've got a complementary infinitive. Nor did we did not.
See,
we
that's
didn't
what
have
I'm
a
struggling
way.
with. If akermen's the main verb,
Yep.
You've got uta with an infinitive,
Yep.
and uta with a finite verb.
You've got a relative clause. You've got an indirect deliberative. Okay, so praximen was how. I mean, the original question is how can we fare nobly? Praxormen kalos. How can we? Pors. How? Kalos praxormen. How can we fare nobly? So we've got the indirect relative, hopos. Yeah, in which way, by acting in which way we could fare nobly. It's praximen is the aorist, which is substituted for the aorist subjunctive because it's in secondary sequence after akermen.
But the two things we didn't have were an infinitive and an indirect question.
We've got the, I'm not sure, we've got the infinitive, Antigone.
Yeah.
And then we've got an
indirect question.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And the indirect question begins with an indefinite relative pronoun, adverb, which has an antecedent that's not there. Like we didn't have the way by which way by acting we would fare nobly.
Yeah, I get it.
I think. It's not easy. I'm sure Jeb has a more comprehensive and accurate summary, which I'll have to
keep going to the next one, or
yeah, please. Thanks.
I've got one more sentence on it. En de hormuthos hos anoisteon soi turgon tutor kuki krupteon. So en, I'm pretty sure that's again the imperfect Amy, third person, and then hormuthos is the speech or the story or the statement this guy's made. Hos is a conjunction. It can mean so that or such that. Anoisteon is from anoisteos, which is reported. So that's an adjective, accusative. Turgon is from ergon, a deed. And well, according to Stedman, it goes with It means must in this context. It must be reported. It goes with annos steon. Tutos this cookie is surely not, and krupteon is one must hide. So I've got that as meaning the speech was such that the deed must be reported to you and must not be hidden.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Just on the detail of the AR, so it's so you see the and at the beginning. So that means that the story was not the story, but the suggestion, whatever, however you want to translate mythos, the speech given by the someone was that horse. So horse is hottie, and then so but you know in the verbal adjectives we've got either tos air on or teos are on, and tos air on is something that is doable, can be done. Like we saw in the Meno is virtue teachable, and teos is must be done. So that's a verbal adjective, meaning that it must be reported. Anaphero is to refer or report or whatever it is, and this it uses this root from the future. Oisor means I will bear. That's the future of feror. So we've got a verbal adjective derived from the future root of the word feror. So it means it, and it has a passive sense, like it must. Anoisteon means it must be reported, and we've got that with an accusative and infinitive after as indirect discourse after an hot muthos, but the infinitive anai has been replaced by aer because it's in the past. So it must be that this deed must be reported to you. Yeah, I mean your translation was completely perfect. I just wanted to dwell on the detail, and then we've got the same verbal adjective in krupteon.
Thanks for that, Mon, because Stedman didn't go into that detail at all. He just gave it as a outcome without saying how he got there.
Right, right.
And is the subject tot ergon tuto?
Yep.
Tot ergon tuto, this deed.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm a bit lost. This thing you were talking about, teos air on and tos air on. Yeah, and we're related to must be. Maybe. So I know.
Oh yeah. So what the this ending teos?
Yeah.
So there's two verbal adjectives, and if you see that on the stem of a verb like ois or we had didask or teach, right? And then ton, right? So is virtue a didacton, a teachable thing?
Okay.
Yep. Now, if someone wrote virtue is didacteon, a thing that must be taught.
Okay.
Right. So the verbal adjective means that must be taught, and then as Michael was pointing out, we've got this is the story is that horse that this deed tugon that it anai is something is anoisteon something that must be reported. Does that work?
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's what I'm
So the original sentence is the ergon st.
Well, this deed, tot ergon tuto.
Yeah, forget that. I'm just trying to make it simple, right?
Right. Yeah.
Anoisteon in the nominative, right? Ergon esti anoisteon. The deed is something that must be reported. Yep. Now then we've got indirect speech, and so the esti is replaced by anai. And then because it's in the secondary sequence, it's replaced by the optative. Actually, I can make it simpler. If horse means we have a if it because horse is a poetic way of saying hoti. That if we have nominatives after that, then we just have ergon, esti, anois, teon, right? And then because it's in the past, the esti is replaced by aer. So the third person singular indicative is replaced by the third person singular optative, which very frequently happens in subordinate clauses after a past main verb, even an implied past main verb. Yeah, so the story was, or the suggestion was that this deed is a thing that must be reported to you and it must not be hidden, which is, what Andrew said.
Mhm.
And that's the end of my section, Martin.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, that's great. Right, Kirsten, I think you're...
Okay. Yeah. Haven't really looked at it properly. All right. Where are we? Kai tau tenica. Kame tu dus doi mona. Holos kathere tutor tagathon labain. So Henika is from Nikaor, being victorious. And so is it just, yeah, so these things were victorious. These things were victorious? Just stop me at any time when I am going off the rails. I can't hear
That's quite correct.
you.
These things, it's imperfect, right? So these things were being victorious. That is, this argument won out, sort of thing in English.
All right. And Kame is Kai and Me.
I am at, yeah.
And is it Cathere, which is to Cathareo, to take down, reduce, destroy?
Yeah, condemn.
Condemn. But it's not me. No, so sorry, though. So then the polos, the lot or the lottery, condemned me to take Lebain to Tagathon, these good things.
What number is two tall tagathon?
One singular. Sorry. This good thing. And it's me, Deuce Daimona, being unfortunate. Is it?
Yeah, yeah. So me, or something like wretched me, or something unhappy
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
Unhappy.
having a yeah.
Paremi de ako ukusi hodoti. Strege ga udes agalon kakon epon. So ekon is from, well, yeah, ekon, meaning unwilling, and it's just first person singular active indicative. So I am unwilling. Parami is so that's Amy be with. So I'm unwilling to stand with or be with,
Be present.
be present.
Remember how Heidegger is always mistakenly claiming that ousia is parousia, being is presence for the Greeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm unwilling to be present, uk akusin, to or with those who are unwilling. Akusin is from, what does Stedman say? Ekon. Ekusa, ekon. Knowing that, Haditi, Udes, no one. Strege, loves. Angelon, a messenger of bad words. Kakon epon. Something like that.
Yep.
And the chorus says, Anax, guard.
Lord.
Lord. Lord.
Yeah. Philax is guard. Anax is like the ruler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Emoitoi. Mertikai Thenlaton. Theerlaton. Tugon Tod He Sunoia Buleu Palais. To me, well, it's sort of, yeah, so emoid toy is just, it seems to me, yeah, in my eyes. Tugon Todd, so this deed, Mertikai Thealaton is from sent by the gods. Can't actually find that word. Thealaton.
That's what it means. Yeah, just sent. It literally means driven, like you drive cattle, but then it has this meaning of just sent.
So to me, these deeds seem possibly sent by the gods.
Yeah, this deed, singular. Yeah.
Yeah. Her Sunoya Buleus Pele. So that's something like, and the thing in my mind. No, so I have been counseled. I have counseled, or yeah.
What's the subject of Boule Yue?
Sorry, it's the thing in his mind, or the thing, this
Thought.
thought, the thought.
Thought.
Yeah. The thought counseled this, and then Palais is, that kind of suggestion of time ongoing in the past, all along, or something like that.
Yep.
That's me.
That's it. That's good. Thanks, Kirsten. So that's and this is the decisive moment for the first stage in the education of the chorus. They're about to get some. They're about to misinterpret their first lesson. Okay, so Chris, should we have a break, or do you want to start now, or what? Take 10 minutes now.
Yeah. Okay. A break would be good. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you in 10 minutes then. Cheers. Right. So what? We're at line 280.
Yeah.
Great.
280. Creon speaks back. So Paul say bin orges kai me pestor sai legon me fugethes anus te kai legon hama. So this Paul say is from Paul to stop or to pause, second singular aorist imperative. So so it's singular, second singular, so stop or pause. So grammatically it's directed to the chorus leader or one person from the chorus who's said that statement before. So before again, now orges I think is genitive, anger. singular feminine genitive. Mestorse is an aorist infinitive active to fill up something really full. Stuffed full was one version I saw. Legon is the present masculine active participles, saying or speaking. So before speaking, stuffing me full. And the Kai, I think, is something like just. Before speaking, stuffing me full. And I'm thinking in English it can only be of anger or with anger, but it's a genitive.
Yeah, mesto. Like there are several words to full, to meaning to fill something, and they all take a genitive of the element that you're filling it up with.
Oh,
Right.
so this one takes a genitive.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. That's right.
Okay.
And you
then,
can just like the legon is like a, you've got all the elements perfectly correct, but it just, so it's a circumstantial participle. So you could say, before you fill me full of anger by your speaking,
oh yeah,
something like that,
yeah. Matthew. Then. So fuge thes is, once again, there's lots of aorists here. Second singular aorist subjunctive of find. If you risco, and then these two adjectives here, or they're effectively adjectives, anus and geron. Anus is mindless, with the alpha privative there, and geron is a noun, singular masculine nominative, old man, but it could mean, I think here, elderly, because Creon is saying, before you really cheese me off, not don't be found, because this is passive, don't you be found, don't you be found, with the mare, mindless and also at the same time old. Yeah. Legesga uk anecta daimonas legon, pro naian iskein tude tu necru peri. So this starts off, for you say sayings, legon there is the same participle at the end of that line. For you say sayings, so uk anecta daimonas. So uk anecta means bearable or tolerable. That's an adjective, and it agrees with legon, I think, and uk. So you say sayings, you say things which are intolerable. And daimonas is the noun. This is the plural accusative of gods. It could be either masculine or feminine. And then pronoian is keen to, so this is pronoian is a noun meaning being concerned, and Iskane is a verb. This is present infinitive active of iskor, to hold. So the gods, plural, daimonos, the gods hold concern for that about that corpse. So this is intolerable, to go back to the previous line. It is intolerable saying that the gods hold concern for that, about that corpse.
Sorry, did you want to say something else about that?
No.
So that last translation you gave is perfectly right, because it made the distinction between the main clause, which is legeska uk anekta. So anekor is, ekor is to have, hold, anekor is to hold it up, right? So it's bearable, right? Anecta are things that are bearable. Ukanecta are things that are not bearable. So you're saying anecta, right? So leges, uk, anecta. That's the object, right? That's the end of our finite clause, right? Then we have this circumstantial participle, which adds the equivalent to an adverbial clause after that, by saying, and this is exactly how you were translating. So by saying, and then a subordinate clause of indirect speech after legon, that the daimonos, that the gods, iskane, and iskane is a poetic infinitive for ekor, right? That the gods have pronoia, thought or care concerning this corpse.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so just the way you translate the end was perfect, because you separated the finite clause from what was happening with the circumstantial participle. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, that's explained. That's been good, thank you. So then, Poteron huper Timontes, hos you geten, ekrupton auton. I'll just do that bit first. So Poteron, so it's a question, which of these two? Which one is it? Usually of two, I think, maybe sometimes a three. But the second choice, so this is these 4 lines here, which I'm finishing with, is the first one, and the next one comes, whoever's got the next set of lines, you'll pick it up.
It's
I think.
me.
Yeah, okay. So this word after poteron, hupetimontes, is a participle present active nominative, meaning to honor greatly, hyper honoring, greatly, honoring greatly. Os as you ergeten. Now, you ergete, or as it says, you well or good, ergo is actions. Now the Perseus said that this is an infinitive.
Hooper. Sorry,
No, you ergeten.
No, it's an accusative noun. Euergetes, a benefactor.
Benefactor. Oh.
Yeah, someone who does well by someone, does good deeds for someone.
Yeah, I thought that can't be right, can't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Perseus is it can be very helpful, but it sometimes gets things wrong. Just a machine.
Okay. Then ekrupton. Now this is from krupto, to hide or bury, and it's either so it's imperfect, either first singular or third plural. So here it's got to be third plural, indicative active, talking about the barriers, and auton, him. So Which is it to be? On they burying him greatly honor as a benefactor, hostis amphicionas naus pur oson elthe canath emata kai gen ekenon kai nomus dias gedon. So hostis is this pronoun, pronoun singular. So the one, the man who, and so then we have the main verb here. I think, at least semantically, is setting fire. Pur or son, singular participle, but future. This is a son, so it's a future participle, and that was tricky for me for a while there. Following this guy, the one who, elthe puroson, so elthe is an aorist indicative active, finite verb. He came, and because it's future, I think it means he came to, in the future, burn down, then this amphicionas, which is a columns, something surrounded by columns, and that thing is the naus, which is noun plural, masculine accusative. It's part of a temple. I couldn't get anything closer than parts of a temple.
Just a temple.
Just a temple.
Yeah, so temples, yeah.
So he came in order to, in the future, burn down a temple surrounded by columns. Kana. At first, I thought this word was anathemata, something anathema, but then I realized it was completely wrong. So this is kai. This is kai anathema, which is temple offerings. So,
Yeah, you can see from ana upwards and to themi. So something you offer up. Yep. Like a dedication. Yeah, frequently it's translated by dedication, like something you've offered up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And with kai attached, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
And so I think, because I've looked at the Jeb translation, I think so, burning those things as well, and gen ekenon kai nomus diaskedon, and burning also. So burning the temples, the temple offerings, and the earth of theirs, ekenon, from ekenos, the genitive plural, and kai nomus, the laws, diaskedon. This is participle singular. Oh, it's future. So he would have, and he came also to do that in the future, scattering or laying waste to nomus, the laws. But just one quick thing. When I saw gain ekenon, and I looked up the ekenon, one possibility for 3 seconds was kenoo, which is to leave empty or to cause depletion. It could have been, that would have been the people who did the burying, imperfect. So it would have been third person plural or first person singular, imperfect indicative active of kenoo, they depleted the land, ekenon. But that wouldn't be right either literally or metaphorically, I don't think. But I thought it was possible. Anyway, that's my my section.
Yeah, I don't. Well, if it, yeah, I didn't know that cannot or had an imperfect of cano.
No, sorry. The dictionary form is cannot or
Yeah,
omicron omega to leave empty or to deplete or to cause devastation.
yeah, but here, okay, you've got an augment, so it has to be imperfect, right? If it was going to be that verb form, but then it wouldn't be on. It'd be un if it was the imperfect.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah. So
And also that's, I mean, I'm just opened the dictionary and it looks like that's an epic spelling with the K not or, not cannot. Because
okay, no worries. Yeah, so it's clearly
but you obviously recognize it's not going to fit syntactically anyway, because the main structure, and here I can clarify something a little bit, is in prose, we frequently get horse plus future participle to express purpose, right? Someone did something, horse, future participle, they did it in order to do that. And so here we've got hostis, who, elthe, came, and then we have the future participle pudorson, in order to burn down the colonnaded temples and the dedications, and in order to scatter their earth and laws.
scattering would apply to both.
Yes, yeah. And he's having to identify the gods. He's just come out before, and he gave her like an unreflecting, pious. Well, the gods disturbed us, and then set things right, and then he sets out how everything was done by him, because he doesn't actually. He's not really attached to the gods in that sense. As actors, the actor is him, who's done this and is going to do that for the good of the city. And then now, because of this suggestion that it outrages him, he identifies the gods with the land and the laws.
Yeah.
Martin, how do you decide that the gen is the object of diaskedon and not puroson? For example, Jeb treats it as the object of puroson.
To burn down their land,
Yeah,
and scatter their
he
laws.
translates it to burn their pillared shrines and sacred treasures, to burn their land, and to scatter its laws.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, is it because it's on a new line, or?
Yeah, if the sentence stopped at Ekanon, then it would make perfect sense to say to burn down, their dedications and their law and their land.
Is it burn down or just set fire to, though? To burn?
Yeah, to burn, but it could be to burn up, like.
Yeah. How do you scatter land?
Well, yeah, scatter is a very delicate translation. It could be tear apart.
Yeah.
Like rip up. Yeah.
And sorry, and that's another future participle, isn't it? Diaskedon.
Sorry, that's
another future participle.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. That was great.
Yeah, cheers.
Very, very good.
I'll continue. So it starts off with another question, starting with air. So any or, so this is the other half of the Potteron possibility. So air tous cacus demontas es thoras theus. That's a question. Or tous cacus, the wicked, an accusative, plural. Well, the on adverb is thoras, which is comes from the ace or to look at, to view or see, and it's seems to be second person singular, although it also could be second person subjunctive, but I'll go with the present. Anyway, so I'm going to translate it as and it's second person here. So, or do you see use the gods in the accusative? Timontas is a participle, a plural present masculine, accusative. So do you see the theos, the gods, honoring is Timontas, tous kakus, the wicked. So yeah, I've got a couple of questions about this. One is so we've got the theos and tous kakus all in accusative. So grammatically, if I was to guess which one was honoring which or not honoring, then I would guess tous kakus, the wicked, would be the subject of the sentence, and then honoring the gods, or do you see the wicked honoring the gods? But obviously, that's obviously not what it means because of the context. So I'm just wondering why the kakus has got the what's the word? No. the word, and not the gods. That's just a question for you. And the other question is why? How do we know it's present rather than subjunctive? I mean, I thought maybe because the participle is present, and it might be seem to be present. Yeah. Anyways, two questions for you, Martin.
So what was the second one?
Oh, whether the verb is in the present or the subjunctive.
Yeah, it's definitely in the present.
Yeah.
The subjunctive, we would have a different form. With
because it's a contracted because of the then they both go to.
Yeah, in the aorist it's Adon, I saw. Right? So the subjunctive would just be Ades.
No, I'm not talking about it from the present.
Yeah, so so it's a present.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it could be present subjunctive. That's what I mean.
Present subjunctive. You're making me look at tables.
Well, I looked up the tables.
Okay.
Well, first of all, Perseus gave both possibilities, and then I checked it on the tables.
Yeah. I mean, syntactically, there's no reason for a subjunctive.
No, I think, do you always have to have a modal particle to have a subjunctive? Or...
Well, it has to be, there are 3 uses of a subjunctive in a main clause, and there are 7 or 8 uses in a subordinate clause.
Right.
We don't have a subordinate clause, so it's the main verb it's a finite verb in a main clause, and therefore it could only be prohibitive, deliberative, or exhortative. And it's not first person, so it can't be deliberative or exhortative. So it could be prohibitive, but it doesn't have a mayor telling someone not to do something. So therefore it's indicative.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I just thought maybe when it says, or do you see the gods honoring the wicked? I just thought maybe you brought in something more contrary to fact, then it might make more sense to me. But it is, yes, just in the present. So
Yeah. And yeah, so we've discussed this before. This is about indirect discourse, that you have verbs of either saying or thinking,
Yeah.
and they take accusative and infinitive, and verbs of perceiving and knowing, and we've got a verb of perceiving, and they take the participle and the accusative.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why we've got timontas. Do you see God's honoring the wicked?
Yeah, okay. But I'm just wondering how we know it's grammatically not the wicked honoring the gods. Because if I was
Yeah,
guessing,
no, you're right. You're right. Without saying by the context, there's no way
okay,
to. Yeah,
because without the context, I would have guessed the one that's got the article, the tous
yep,
subject.
that would be very reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and why has he given this article to Gekus?
Because he's talking about them as a collective.
Okay. All right.
We do similarly in English, like the wicked, the brave. To the brave go the fair, sort of thing.
Okay. All right, that's good. And he answers his own question. Uk Esten, which is translated as is not possible because you've got the acute accent on the epsilon and Esten. So it's indicating it's not possible. It is. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense anyway. If you translate it, it is not.
Yeah.
So it's obviously has to be, it's not possible. Okay. This way. The editors have put the acute on the beginning of the Amy. Okay, so going on. And this sentence is interpreted differently by the different commentators, so it's ambiguous. So, ala alai, polios, andres, polis, pherontes, erothu, emoi. We'll just go, no, maybe I'll Crufe, Cara, Cerontes, Ud, Upo, Zugor, Rophon, Dikaios, Dikaon, Horse, Eme. So it's going back to the beginning. You've got others, but Tata, I mean, Torta, these things. Kai, Pala. So Pala is long ago or and Polios, Andres. So it's men of the city. So Polios, so we'll just and then we've got Polis Ferrantes, The polis is barely, Ferrantes is bearing. It's a participle plural present masculine. To carry or bear. So and then so we're just going to there. But these things, Kai will go with even. So even from the start, Palai. Unjust laws, man of the city. Polis Ferrantes, scarcely bearing something. That's what we've got to work out. And then Erothorn Emoi. So Erothun, sorry, is the finite verb, and it's third person plural imperfect to get active. And were muttering, that's what I'm going with. It can mean to roar, make a clamour, or mutter. So the men were muttering, Emoi. So it could be to me. It's me. It's the second person dative or the pronoun. So they were muttering either to me or against me. That's what the two interpretations are. And that was the Tauta. So Stedman translated this. Were muttering these things to me. Whereas the other two, Griffith, they both disagree with that. And they think Tauta, these things are the edicts that Brown laid down about who's to be buried and who's not to be buried. So that's the things that otherwise, that's the thing that they were scarcely bearing, these men, some men of the city. So just going along word by word, but these things, even from the start, many of the city scarcely bearing. So I'm interpreting that as, but men of the city were scarcely bearing these things, even from the start. Men of the city were muttering against me. So just and then you'll see what the kind of thing they're muttering in the next part. Rufe is secretly, so they would be muttering secretly. Kara Seontes is so Kara's head, and Seontes is a participle shaking or moving back and forth. So head shaking, they're secretly muttering and head shaking, maybe they're shaking their heads secretly as well. And then Ud Zegor, so but not under Upo Zegor the yoke. So Upos, if it's under, then it goes to dative. So under comes from Zugon, yoke. Under the yoke, but not under the yoke, Lophon, the back of the neck. So Dicaius Acon. So Acon is the finite verb, third person plural imperfect. So 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 just going word by word in the order that it comes, and then we'll make sense of it later. Secretly, and not under the yoke, back of the neck is what both one is. Justly they held. So, in other words, they didn't hold their heads under the yoke, the back of their neck under the yoke. And they were muttering against me and secretly shaking their heads. And then horse, stergain, eme is here horse means, how to say, so as to. Stergain, so it either means to love, be fond of, or submit to. Here I'm translating as submit to, so as to submit MA to me. So, and decay, I don't know, I left out decay, or it's justly. So what was just according to Crayon is for them to put their necks under my yoke and submit to me, but they weren't doing that. And even from the start, well, I mean, it's a little bit strange because he only made the for a long time or whatever. He only made this edict the night before something. So how they've got much time to do all this muttering and so on, and how we know about it if they're doing it secretly, it's all a bit strange, as though he's a bit paranoid, something. But anyway, my question is, maybe you think that's right, but what are these things that refers to? And also whether I found this, whether both the ambiguity and the seemingly strange word order, it seemed to me, was a sign of a stress on him, or was it maybe, as I worked with it, it didn't seem quite as strange, the word order, after all. But yeah, whether that was a sign of the stress or this is just normal Greek, or is it a sign of the stress he's under, the Crayon?
Yeah, I don't think it's too unusual. And Tauta Kai can begin, it's following Allah, but it can either after a conjunction or by itself can be something like that too. So then, but here I like taking it as the object of Ferontes. So, but these things, even long ago, men of the city were bearing painfully, with difficulty. They took this. So that's a present participle Ferontes, right? So they were in the process of bearing this with difficulty, and then we get the imperfect verb, which I here take to me they began to. As a result of that, they began to speak against me in secret. So that's the main verb, right? We've got one main verb, and then we have a connection. Nor did they hold out. Now, lophos, you can say neck, right? But it doesn't normally apply to a human. It applies to a horse.
That's right.
So, nor do they hold out. What do you say for a horse or an ox? What do you say of the neck for a yoke? You just say neck. I don't know if there's a technical term or
neck. Well, a horse doesn't go under the yoke. An ox does.
ox. Yeah,
under the bridle.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, in the second choral ode, and there are so many resonances between the choral odes and what happens in the discussion at line 351. A horse, a hippon, is akmazdetai fi lafon zugor. is bound about the neck by a yoke, right?
Pulling a
And so this
chariot.
is, sorry?
Pulling a chariot then, or a wagon. Yeah.
Right. And this is a direct reference, Creon takes the political as a, as if it's master and animal. But yeah, so they began to raise a rushing, Rotheor, it's used in two places in all of antiquity to mean human voices, and that's here and somewhere else in this drama. So normally it's the rushing sound of water. But yeah, let's just say they began muttering against me in secret, shaking their head. And now we have the second main clause, nor were they holding, imperfect again, but this time progressive, nor were they holding their neck under the yoke. Horse, with the result that, so horse here, again, this flexibility of the use of subordinating conjunctions in poetry. Horse can be haughty, it can be hop horse, it can be, as it is here, horse stare, with the result that, they have affection for me. So sturgor means, it's one of the 3 or 4 main words for love, but it's very frequently in political contexts. Like the guard has just said, no one stir gay loves an ungalon, a messenger of bad news.
Yeah.
Right? So we can use a different word than love because love has other connotations, but yeah.
Well, statement suggests it could mean, well, here, one meaning is submit to.
I don't. I'd have to actually check that. I'm just not familiar with that use. I'll have a quick check, but that's, yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like they're supposed to be happy to put their necks under the oak.
Yeah. So he's got in the LSJ. There's a few translations such as "were content with" or "acquiesced in."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oblige, further down. To oblige me. Do me the favour. In Romans 3. Socrates, Oedipus Colonus.
Yeah, where's that? Sorry?
Romans
Roman
3,
numeral
second
3.
line.
Ah, yeah, Sturkson. Yep. Sturkson. Yeah, okay, so be content or make me content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another possibility someone suggested. Make him.
Yeah.
Martin, just go back to the Cruffair. Stedman and Jeb have a comma after Emoy. So it would be shaking their heads secretly.
Right.
Rather than muttering secretly.
Right.
I didn't check what the Oxford Classical Text had.
Well, yeah, it's got the comma after Cruffair.
It does have a comma after Emoy.
After Cruffair, not Emoy.
That's right.
Right. Well, yeah, I looked in Stedman has after Emoy. Okay.
Right.
But I thought maybe the secretly could apply to both. I don't know. But they could be both shaking their heads and muttering secretly. Could it apply to both of them?
Yeah, that's definitely an editorial
They
decision.
do both their muttering and their head wagging in secret.
Yeah.
So as not to be seen by Creon.
Yeah.
How he knows about that, I don't know. Because you're just imagining it.
By his spies.
Got his spies, yeah.
Yeah, it is very striking that he uses that word. I mean, Palai can be used in context where we would say even things like just now, right? Because it means before. But normally it does mean for a long time. So it's very striking that this is the night in which he took over. And he's saying, for the whole time. For what whole time? It's been one night. Yeah.
So he's only just taken charge, not only just given the edict.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so because I think he's going to say this well, he's going to imply it. He tries to smudge over the exact justification for his taking over, but it's because Eteocles and Polynices have killed each other that there's now no direct male descendant. Now, and one reason for him perhaps trying to get rid of both sisters is that it would be convenient for him if there were no living female direct descendants.
Who could have sons?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Okay, I think it's me.
Thanks, Martin. That's good.
So me now.
Yes, please.
So tonde tutus epistomai kalos paregemenos mistoisin aerigastaitare. So it's epistomai kalos, I know well, and that's going to indicate indirect discourse, I think, accusative infinitive. And I think it's the tutos, which Jeb says they're the watchers of the course, these people, and down to the infinitive, which will be the verb for them, erigasomai, earn by working, by paregenos, by carrying off with bribes, and the ektonde, by the ek sort of is from, I think, from the and those people, they're the malcontents, these men, and Jeb says they're the malcontents. So you've got two pronouns, but Jeb sort of explains exactly who they are. So is that right? And I don't know where to put the tade on this account. So I know well on this account, I suppose it is, that these watchers of the course earn by working, by carrying off with bribes from the malcontents. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Just a couple of, so yeah, it's from, so ektonde, so that's definitely the men who've been muttering, right? So, and I'm going to take the ek plus genitive as agency. So by these men.
Oh, so
yeah.
But that's the bribes, is it?
Well, I think it's the men. So I know beautifully that.
Yep. And
that
then do you go to your adverb on this account? It's just where to put that adverb, tade, at the end.
Yeah, we've got to get there. So,
Sorry.
Okay, so main verb, ex epistemi. So this is the main verb. I have knowledge. Yep. I have knowledge that these men, the guard. Well, sorry, not the guards. Yeah, it could be the guards. That these men,
the watchers of the corpse, Jeb says, the tutos.
Yeah, the guards,
Yep.
of whom we've just had a representative come in and announce the burial, right? I know that these men. So after a verb of knowing, as we just went through before, we have accusative and participle. I know that they have been perverted. Pare.
Oh, sorry, where do you get the perverted from?
Paregmenus.
Oh, I thought they were carrying off there. Where did I get that from? Oh, sorry. Okay.
There's probably a better word. They've been turned aside. They've been
somehow I got that carrying off. I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah, they've been led astray. That works well.
Well, literally led astray. Led astray.
Led astray.
Yeah. So I know beautifully that these men have been, and this is a perfect participle. I know that these men have been led astray by them, the people complaining, and then dative of instrument by means of payments, right?
Yeah. Dative of means. Yes, I got that. The Esthorn scene. Yep.
To do these things. To accomplish this
work. Where do you get to do these things? This
Augustai from.
Oh, right. That's
Augustamai.
Yeah. Oh, to do these things. Okay.
Yeah. So they've been led astray to do these things.
Right.
Martin, is epistemi a verb of knowing or thinking?
Knowing.
Mm.
Knowing. So it goes with participle and
Yeah, not accused, because I was
So
wondering
that's
if it
what you
could
were
be,
saying before. Yes, I didn't realise there was that difference. I always thought that
Yeah.
anything like saying, thinking, all the rest of it, your opinion was accusative infinitive, but it's participle.
yeah, saying and thinking is accusative infinitive. Knowing and perceiving and grabbing, like yeah, that's
grasping, mentally
participle.
grasping.
Yeah,
Michael-
mentally grasping. Yeah, that's right.
Michael Gray, is that the same in Latin? I thought it was just always accusative infinitive.
No, Latin, I mean, I think in Latin, you know, knowing,
It's-
thinking, perceiving,
It's
words of mind
accusative
and mouth.
infinitive.
Yeah,
Hmm?
verbs of mind and mouth. Yeah.
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 See, I'm
And-
not like you, Janet. I thought it was, I know these men to have done, having been led astray by bribes.
Right. Yes.
But it works. So I guess
That makes sense too. Yeah, maybe that's it. Let me check Paragor. But that, yeah, it could be that these men have done these deeds, or that they've been led aside to do these.
By
Yeah,
they've
see,
done it by carrying off. They were
syntactically,
bribed. By carrying
Carago
off
take a
something, they
comprehensive
were
feeling.
bribed by the malcontents.
Yeah, well, see, if you're looking here at number 2, Roman numeral 2, number 2, at 294, he says with an infinitive for paragor, paragmenos with an infinitive, and the infinitive
He
is,
quotes this passage, yeah.
and he quotes this passage, yeah. So,
Yeah,
so
okay.
LSJ, but LSJ is not the, it's a great word, but it's not the last word.
Yeah.
They say, led astray to do these things.
Right.
And so, Matt, is ek with the genitive equivalent to hupo with the genitive,
Yep,
or only in poetry?
only in poetry, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I must say I read that is these ones out of the mutterers, from amongst the mutterers.
Yeah, but that would make the guards amongst the mutterers.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it's agency though.
yeah, agency. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Udenga anthroposin oion aregupos kakon numisma I can't say that. Numisma ebgaste. And this is sort of a little adage, isn't it? A little proverb. For in no way at all, Udenga. And then I've got Usen as no way. Well, for men, an institution is the numeson produces, I guess that's the participle, ebigastan. It's bad to men. And I really messed that up, hasn't it? But there's no institution. The oison, no way at all an institution. So produces so bad for men, and then as silver, the money. And I've got that as the nominative, so I've really messed it up, hasn't I? For no way at all, money for men produce, oh no, I don't know. There is no institution, so ruinous for men is money, is sort of what it means, but how have I can't unpack it properly. For no way at all, money for men produce an institution produces bad. That the kakon is the accusative, so this is bad things, I suppose. Come on, Martin, help me out. I'm struggling here as usual.
Yeah, there is
I
nothing.
sort of get all the words, but then to put them all together is very tricky.
Isn't
Yeah.
it udin kakon numisma, no evil institution has arisen among men, such as money?
Oh, kakon nusimum is no institution.
That's how I read it.
Mm. See, it's dated to men, isn't it? To men, silver to men.
Bastano's intransitive, isn't it?
Say that again, Michael.
Intransitive
Which
has arisen,
has arisen.
has
Oh, okay.
sprouted.
Ebaste.
That's how I read it.
Oh, it's not produces.
Now that'd be transitive. It can be transitive according to what you just brought up, Martin, in Roman 2.
Yeah.
But in the first sense,
It's quite like
it's all
fuor.
come to light.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
quite like fuor, bud, sprout, grow forth, or whatever.
Yes, that's what Stedman has, is to be born or grow, sprout. So that's
Actually,
why I put
cites
produce.
Antigone. Have a look in the second line of 2. Cacon numisma blaster, Antigone 296.
Where's that? What
Second
number?
line of Roman of number 2. Not Roman 2, Arabic 2. Second line.
Yeah.
Akuros cacon numisma blaster. Id Antigone 296.
Ah, yeah. There we go.
Mm.
Yeah. So, so he's and that's under being born, intransitive, right? So and he's summarized Argyros, silver is an evil institution that born. So there is no evil institution such as silver born, with its effect on human beings. So for human beings, there is no evil institution born like silver, such as
And
which
is
we
it
have to.
money?
Yeah, money. Yeah, silver for money. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's really complex.
Yeah, so you can see, just the problem that we face from the beginning, which is that English word order is defied constantly, and so you have to cling desperately to the syntax.
Mm.
And if eblaster, it's intransitive. Apparently, it's got Roman numeral 2 is causal, make to grow, but these are all post-classical authorities. So forget that doesn't exist, right? So in the classical period, this means it's intransitive, and it means to be born, to shoot forth like a there's a nominal form that's like the stem of something, right? So it's to shoot forth, come forth.
And the subject is silver. So silver is produced, is born.
Well, okay, so the nomisma, top nomisma is the subject,
Oh,
but we've got a small relative clause hoion gyros of such a sort as silver.
Oh, so that's a relative clause. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to put brackets around that, and then you get uden kakon nomisma. Nomisma, there is no evil. No. How does that work now? No, nomisma came forth is such as sorry?
No evil institution has come forth among men such as money, than money.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no
it's
evil.
than.
No.
But isn't kakon accusative?
Nomisma can actually mean money.
No, nomisma is neuter, so it's nominative neuter.
Yes, but if you're saying kakon describes silver, isn't it kakon?
No, kakon describes nomisma. Yeah.
But aren't they then? Isn't it kakon accusative singular masculine?
Yeah, but all neuters are the same in nominative, vocative, and accusative.
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah,
I thought it was masculine. That was right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. In the masculine.
Neuter and neuter. Yeah.
Yeah, no evil institution, which is very weak. I mean, there's got to be a better word, but nomisma, which means something instituted by the nomos, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There is no evil institution come forth for human beings such as silver, like silver.
Yeah.
You've got to almost say no more evil than silver, don't you, than money, to get the sense of it.
No evil institution comes forth, has come forth for human beings like silver. Yeah.
Like silver. Yeah, that's right.
Such as. of us. Yeah.
That blastano, isn't there in biology a blast prefix for, you know, the ideas of germination? I'm
Yes.
sure I've seen that
Yeah.
in horticulture and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's found its way into biology, I think.
Yeah. And you see it in other contexts. There's like a, um,
In medicine?
oh no, in Greek, there's some use of it. I mean, we've got it here in Sophocles in Antigone as a growth. There's something it stems from, like a birth from a father. But we've got a blaster petria, a rocky growth, a rocky stemming forth. But I'm sure there's another one that is that the suppliants hold when they supplicate.
What about blostologea down there? What does that mean?
It might be a bit late.
Oh, that's to choose. Lego choose, not
Yeah, so yeah,
pick,
pick
yeah,
out young
yeah,
shoots. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we've gone 10 past.
10 past
Sorry
and
about
I'm
that.
next. But
Yeah. I'll adjust what we're doing so we can do a bit of chorus and also we get through all of our reading. But but well done, everyone. That was
we've only got 2 weeks to go.
excellent work. Yep.
Are we scheduling a new course?
Well, whatever happens, we have to do the first decimon, the second choral ode, which ends at line 360 something. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll do something. Let's discuss next week.
Thank
Okay.
you. That was good.
Good evening. Well done, everyone.
Thanks, Martin. Good night, all.